we're going to go into the biggest feature that we're releasing this summer, and that is billing. So billing is a topic that has had a fairly long history in Rehab Guru, where historically we would only allow you to perform a Stripe connection. And then with that Stripe connection, you would be able to take a payment on your booking portal, and you would also be able to send an invoice directly to the patient. Now, what was happening behind the scenes was that you were essentially performing remote control to the Stripe portal. All we were doing was creating a Stripe invoice, and then we're using their infrastructure in order to send that, and then we would just be reading the current status of that invoice from their systems. Now, that came with a number of limitations, such as not being able to run really strict analytics, not being able to do any billing outside of the Stripe connection. So people who are, many of our international customers don't have Stripe in their country. And they may also want to use a different payment gateway, which is incredibly popular. Can we support SumUp, Square, and many others? So by bringing billing in-house has opened up a whole bunch of opportunities for us to implement things such as insurance clearing services, as well as being able to run very, very clear audit trails and analytics around the billing for your company. So this all starts in the payment settings, and we understand that many of you have different kind of business constructs for your organizations, where you might have central billing, where you and your team members all take the proceeds into a single business account. And in this case, yes, we are using Stripe. We're using Stripe Connect in this case, which allows Rehab Guru to listen to the account actions on your connected account, and therefore perform things such as auto reconciliation of your invoices, and as well as having very clear analytics around your around your proceeds, revenue recognition, and so on. But on this payout destination, what we can also do is allow each member's account. So suppose you run your business with each of your practitioners as an associate, we can allow you to bring your own Stripe account. So each of your members may have their own business, their own Stripe account, but they are working from a central location. And that's what this setting here allows. They can bring their own Stripe account, connect their own Stripe account, and that will allow them to take the proceeds for their appointments to their own account, which is very, very helpful and provides lots and lots of flexibility for that associate business setup. For now, I'll leave mine as a business account, and I've got my account connected. What we'll also step through just now is the currencies. Historically, we had maybe 5 currencies here. We've now got well over 100 different currencies that we can support around the rest of the world, and that will hopefully provide you with lots of flexibility to use the billing capabilities of Rehab Guru without necessarily needing to connect Stripe. And in the future, we will obviously consider additional payment gateways that we can connect. However, for now, Stripe Connect is offering us a lot of capability, and I know a lot of the listeners will be using Stripe already, so you can just connect your existing account. So what do these features offer us? Well, firstly, let's head on over to the dashboard, and we see we've got this billing widget in the dashboard where we can do things such as bill all of this week's sessions. This could be at the end of every day, every week, where every appointment is being proposed as a billable item. So in this case, in the last 7 days, I have got 2 appointments which are eligible for billing. I could approve these invoices, in which case they will be automatically raised, and if I choose to, they can also be raised and sent automatically directly to the patient. Those will include payment links for them to perform their payment online using a secure credit card portal, Apple Pay, Google Pay, and many other payment options that are available through Stripe Connect. So bulk invoicing directly from your dashboard is one of the capabilities that we've got. We can do rapid overdue invoice chasing so that we can send messages and reminders to our customers. And we can also view our invoices in the billing directory. So in this billing page, we've got all of our previous invoices. We can filter them by status, as well as invoice search, raise new invoices from here as well. I've got a list of all the payments that have occurred on the account, whether that is a cash payment or any other different payment method that could be used. And on the subject of payment methods, we have the ability to set a number of different payment methods. So a payment method could be something such as cash. We've obviously got Stripe as a system default. Here I've written SumUp. You may have a point of sale terminal or even using your mobile phone and a SumUp account in order to take payments in person. The flexibility of the new billing system allows you to do such things. So you may be able to take that payment, include the reference on the payment inside Rehab Guru, and then we will have a customer ledger or a running billing account for their credits and also their debts. So a service that has been provided to them will incur a debt. Say that's £50 appointment, then it will be deducted off their account. And I'll come on to that in a moment. We also have the option of tax rates, which we can optionally add to invoices as well. On this section here, we can add default invoice information, whether that is bank details or if we want to have a different address on any of these. By default, it will use your business address from the business settings. Or if we're invoicing a third party, then you can add a default third-party recipient down here as well. Invoice numbering. This has been currently locked on my account. However, if you're transferring from an existing system and your invoices were performed incrementally, so here my next invoice will be 104, but if I was transitioning from a different system and I was already at over 1,000 invoices, for example, I could choose how to continue on that numbering scheme using the invoice numbering. So very, very helpful for those of you which are migrating to Rehab Guru from an existing system. And up at the top, we can set our default payment term. So how does this work in reality? Firstly, I will go to my clients and, well, there's a number of entry points for billing, and often that will be from the dashboard here or from the diary page. So here I can see that this has not been fully paid. So I'll click on this and I can see at the bottom, no invoices for this appointment. And this will be one of those invoices that was appearing on my dashboard. This one here. So if I click on this, create invoice, it will automatically populate that invoice with the details of this appointment. I've already got include online payment link set up at the top of this invoice. And then I can click on approve or approve and send. Approve and send will send that directly to the patient. They will receive a link which they can click on and then they can perform the payment from there. If I just view this patient's details in the billing tab, I can see that an invoice was just raised. If I click on the invoice tab, I can see that we've got that invoice that I just raised on today, the 10th of July, for £40. And this is the invoice here. It was for that appointment shown there. Now on the payments tab, these would be any inbound or allocated payments against this customer's account. They may have purchased, for example, a credit or a gift card or something like that, and we can record that payment against their account. So they sit in an amount of credit. And we see on the summary and also here, this particular customer is in £50 worth of credit. Now we can then allocate this against their invoices. And we can see a number of other statistics down at the bottom: most popular services, average time to pay, total revenue for this customer, and any open invoices. We see that there are 2 open invoices, a total of £90 outstanding, but we do have £50 in credit. Overall, that puts them £40 in debt or currently owing. So let's look at allocating this £50 credit to the invoices that are owed. When I click on allocate, I can choose how I want to pay off their invoices. So here, £50 against all of this invoice, but let's say I want to do 25 against that one, 25 against this one. This will automatically take those payments from each of those invoices and then adjust everything accordingly. So I'll allocate the £50 that they've got in credit against 2 invoices. Now you may choose to pay that entirely off one invoice. The key here is that it's incredibly flexible to run account credit and also understanding the outstanding balances against people's accounts. So here we have taken that money off this particular invoice. We can see the payment here, and that has automatically adjusted the amount due. If I was to then send this invoice to the patient, they would only be charged £15, and everything will adjust all automatically, and they will only be sent the invoice for the amount that they are due, but it will include all of the details for what has happened on the invoice as well. I can also see the full history of everything that has happened against this invoice. And in the settings section here, if we need to, we can invoice this through a third party. You may have a to field, such as the insurer or company that you are sending the invoice to, an email address, and any unique or specific recipient information that does need to be added to that invoice. Then we check this box, and then that will be included on the invoice. Okay, and one change that I do need to make you aware of in this new approach where we're using invoices and payments, there is a change to the booking portal process. As before, your patients will be able to complete their information and perform an payment online using their credit card details, their payment details. Now, what will actually happen when they click on submit and the payment is taken, behind the scenes, it will raise an invoice against that particular patient account. Now, the invoice will be raised, but there was also a payment taken, so it will automatically reconcile that invoice and be marked as paid. Or if it was an invoice for a £50 appointment, but there was a £10 deposit taken, then it would just take the £10 from the £50 invoice with a balance of £40 left to pay. So it makes things incredibly transparent around payments taken at the point of booking and any outstanding balance. If you remember, on the current version of Rehab Guru, those payments were just taken and they were arbitrary payments that were just taken, and they weren't necessarily updated against the appointment that was in the diary. So that left you with some guesswork around how much is left to pay on this particular appointment. And the reason for implementing it this way is that we want a really, really tight system around which appointments have been paid and which ones haven't. And by doing that, we have to use the invoice approach. Now, if you are using a different approach, then you can still manually mark an appointment as paid. And to do that, you would go to the patient details, the appointments tab, and then here we can set payment status as paid. Now, when we do this, we will receive this warning saying that you are manually updating an appointment. Therefore, you're going to lose that audit trail. You're going to lose the ability to do financial analytics against that. So you need to be very sure if you want to still run things in that manual payment approach. The recommended method is that you raise an invoice and then you apply a payment, or you may choose to update the appointment status, such as paid, potentially paid outside of the portal or outside of Rehab Guru. That will keep things nicely balanced, and there is a full audit trail then, rather than marking things as paid manually. And because of all of this, what we can benefit from is a number of analytics. So in the billing section, this will continue to be developed so that we've got things such as utilization rate, profit per clinician, and then as we add more and more business details and business KPIs into this portal, you'll have a very clear indication around your profit margins, gross profit, and so on. And hopefully that will assist you in making your businesses run much smoother and hopefully be more successful. So that concludes this round of updates. There is obviously a lot to take on board. We will be running additional sessions on each of these features individually, particularly on the billing side of things. There's a lot of change there, and we appreciate that that will take some time to adjust. However, we hope that you see the merit in these changes, as they are going to be incredibly powerful, and they lay fantastically solid foundations for us to build Rehab Guru into the next version, which is going to essentially develop all of these business kind of planning and business winning approaches within the system, trying to be the Swiss Army knife that covers all of your bases with a batteries included product to run your entire clinic. That is our goal, and we continue to welcome your feedback and thank you for your support. It is fantastic to see so many messages coming in from our community and how active our feedback portal is. It is essentially your feedback which is growing Rehab Guru to what it is today. So please don't be shy, give your feedback and be part of that community. And on that point, if you do want to be part of our beta testing team, if you are quite technical and you would like to be on the bleeding edge of all of our features, please reach out to the team. We have a beta testing program, the Beta Bounty, where you're able to be part of a testing community where you're paid for your time, and that really helps us to forge ahead and iterate the product much quicker. So I look forward to working with you on that program. Thanks everyone, and take care.